So, you've probably all found it before where you've either gone on scene, gone on target, and there you go. There's that big bag of USB sticks that you've just found there underneath the drawer, and you get that little bit of vomit in the back of your throat because you know how much data's on there. You know how much of a pain that is to work with. We're going to show you ways to alleviate some of that for you. And again, if you are triaging lifetime as well for quick information, how we can do that so we're not always waiting for the evidence to be brought into an analytical tool to then run analytics to then get an answer. So what you should now see, and Kent, if you're still there, just let me know that it's on the correct screen for you guys. You should see our Detego Analyze, so media acquisition, field, and the cases part here.
Yeah, so, that's what we're seeing, Andy. You're good.
Brilliant. That's it for PowerPoint, by the way, guys. 3 slides or 4 slides, so we can get lost at home. Over here in your Analyzer Manage, this is where we go to view any data, be that from third-party tools like CFED and UFED, our Cellbrite, be that from our ballistic images, our Windows, our Mac, or we've integrated with Hancom to do some pretty funky extractions of likes of block S9s and 10s. That is also where you're going to see all of your media acquisition that we're talking about here today. So the first thing we're going to look at is basic, Billy Basic, plug-play Nintendo forensics. I've got too many skill sets. I don't have enough time. I've got too much going on. I find that big bag of USB sticks, and I just want to get rocking and rolling as a forward operator, or indeed in the lab, but I just want to get through loads of evidence quickly. So we go into this, what's called media acquisition over here. Now, initially, it gives you all these different options. We're not going to look at them right now because that's kind of the next level. All we're going to look at down here is this thing that's called auto detect. If I turn auto detect on, then I'm basically telling Detego when it's switched on like this, anything that plugs in to my machine through hardware rights or anything that's fine, it's going to treat it like a foreign object, like a suspect device. It's going to automatically recognize that and make my life easy. If I accidentally stick, as we know, a Detego field device or a ballistic stick in, it's not going to attack it because it recognizes that that's friendly. And in fact, if you as an investigator are using, I don't know, other stuff all the time, and you have a USB you're always plugging in to do other things while you're doing your forensic work, we can actually turn that into a non-evidence volume so it can be allowed in so you can work on that at the same time as still keeping your forensic integrity for your other stuff. So that's kind of looking at the more advanced labs. So all I'm going to do is click home. Now I could switch my system off or whatever. I go onto target, I go onto scene as the police officer, switch my little tablet on, switch my laptop on, whatever platform you're running from, Windows, but we're agnostic on hardware. So if you want small form factor, fine. If you want something large with a bit more grunt, then you can go with that as well. If you need military rugged machines with the limitations of those, but also the benefits of the ruggedness, then that's fine. So now we're in here. What we've got is I've got a suspect stick here. I just plug it in. So that was my suspect device that I found on the scene. Clearly, I probably had my gloves on. I would have done my forensic management, whatever it happens to be that you're doing. But the key point here is as a basic operator, or even as an advanced operator, but I just want to chunk through all these devices, it just gives me a really nice, easy drop down. Now, it comes up with the drive, the serial number, the size, all that kind of good stuff for us. If we are doing our forensic management or whatever, I can put Alpha 1, Route 2, USB, Bravo 1, whatever it happens to be. And I would always leave the date time group there. It's pretty good. Why do I advocate adding that even for the basic users? It's just so that if later on you'll see if we're doing 5, 6, 7, 8 devices all at once, when you come back later and you say, Christ, on device number 3 was a carved picture of our hostage that we're looking for, that's critical information, right? You guys are going to be going up at 100 million miles an hour going, which stick was it? If you haven't done your forensic management right, yes, it's date time stamped, but you can do these very close together. So if you haven't been taking notes, you're in trouble. So in Detego, we try and help you out with that. So I've named it here. Now, that's all I need to do as a basic operator. Turn Detego on, plug a stick, thumbstick, a hard drive, SD card, a passport drive in, get a nice little drop-down curtain, and then I can choose. Now, it stays to the default of whatever you chose last time. Most users will just have image, forensic image, like you'd be used to, logical, and carve. Now, we give you the options. We never force operators, investigators, police officers to stick with the TTPs where this was originally grown from. You've got the flexibility. So it might be, I've had it before where someone said, well, hang on a minute, why are you doing logical and card if you get the image? Because if you get me the image anyway at this point, later on I can just logical and card that image to pull all the critical data out. 100% correct, you can. But it might be that live time on scene, you're wanting that forensic image, but you're then also wanting the critical data straight away. I don't want to wait for it to go back and do that. Maybe you really are under time pressure and you don't want to take the physical image because you want to go straight after just the logical data, so it's not just the deleted data. Maybe we know that this suspect's always got clean devices, so we just want to go in and look in the unallocated space. So that's choice. But for most basic users, image, logical card, and then crack on. That is it. It's that simple. If they did nothing else, that's pulling an exact forensic copy of that thumbstick, hard drive, passport drive. It's going to pull all the live data out of it, and it's going to pull all the deleted data off it as well and put it in these cases. Now, it might be that that user is not advanced enough to go into this piece, although, as you can see, it's pretty intuitive. I've got the logical jobs it's shown me. We'll come on to what this wheel is in a minute. But even while it's extracting, it's showing me data. So it might be that I'm looking for a particular individual. Bang, that's our guy, happy days, or whatever it happens to be. So straight away, even while it's running, if this was a huge drive, it would still be running faster than your eye can see. There's a little pause button so you can pause it. The data is still going to be coming in, never cost you time. So that's really handy. Once it's done each job, it just moves on to the next job. So you can see here, it's now down to imaging. And then the next thing it'll do is carve for any of that deleted. So that's as simple as it gets. Home, in, plug the device in, drop down, image logical card, click go, off it goes. Awesome. So I'm going to cancel that one. But as we talked about, okay, what happens now? We find that big bag full of sticks. So I'm on a 13-inch little laptop here. It's not bad. It's a little mini gaming laptop, but it's a 13-inch low-powered jobby, so it's really portable for me. It's actually semi-military rugged, allegedly. So I'm plugging in my first stick. Nice and easy as an operator. I've got that automatic drop-down. Windows does recognize it, so I just close that one off. I'm putting in the next stick, plugging in my next USB, my next SSD. Maybe I find a passport drive, so I'm going to plug that in as well. Find a micro SD card, we're going to plug that in. Actually, if you wanted to, you could get these running, and then you find more devices, and as it's part of the way through already imaging or clearing out another device, you find more on target, on scene, or in the lab, and you just keep adding them. So you can see here, I'm just closing off Windows because it recognizes them. You see here, we've got loads lined up. So your workload of finding a big bag full of USB sticks, or indeed, you've gone on scene, you've opened that drawer, you may be on a covert operation, you've got to leave everything in that drawer. What do? I've got a computer to work with over here. Maybe there's an old phone in a drawer. Right, I'm going to work on the old phone. You can do that from your system. At the same time, I'm going to run my ballistic image, get an image of the computer that's in the house. And all these USB sticks that I've just found in his laptop bag, well, that's low-hanging fruit. Let's get all the data in. It might be that I just choose to take an image of all that. So I'm not on time sensitive in the sense of looking for information, time sensitive where I want to just get off the location. So I grab the image, it has everything. Later on, you can do all your analytics in Detego. It's a full processing package. But maybe I want to see some live and deleted information. So on the first one, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do image, logical, and carve. I'm going to start that one off. On the next one, I'm just going to run the image, the logical, sorry. On this one, I'm just going to run carve. And you can see you can just build your way through whatever it is that you want to do in your investigations. They've probably, in most cases, got them all the same, and you're just running them through. And then you can see them building up here. So they're date time stamped. I didn't add my alpha 1, root 2 to each of those. I probably should have added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would have been helpful. But in this case, it doesn't really matter. So you can now see you've got this nice wheel drop down. It's telling me you've got all these different pieces where they're at. One's imaging, one's doing logical, one's carving, across 5 different pieces. I'm going to hit my little refresh wheel up this side. And you can see these are the actual pieces of evidence that we're now extracting into our machine. You can see the little wheels, so we know that Detego's working on them. I can go to my jobs, and it shows me where it's at in these jobs. Again, if we have something of particular interest, I can just have a nice little look. There's always that handy little zoom in and out feature that was a request. So that's in there, even at this basic level. So you don't need to get into the deep dive. And we can just leave them running, and we can switch between the different pieces of evidence and into the different jobs. And this one, you can see a lot more's been done. Move up to the next one, and so on. And you can see the list of the roles that it's going to do. So it's going to move on to imaging, and it's going to carve, and so on and so forth. So really powerful, and hopefully you see just from that short piece there, from a basic user point of view, go on scene, find 5 USB sticks, plug, go. All done, all imaged, all in our system. I'm going to show you something really cool right at the end as well that we can do with that sticks with that automation line. But that might not be your bag. You might be an advanced investigator, or you're working in the lab. This is really handy for the lab as well. So again, maybe you can't do the ballistic image. Why? Because the laptop screen's broken. You use too much explosive going in, or the battery's dead, or it's an old computer that they probably weren't as strict with when they were using that, so you can maybe get some great intelligence, but you can't power it up. Great, pop the hard drive out, and we can actually extract the hard drive, and I'll show you that separately. So it doesn't need to be just a dumb thumbstick or a dumb SD card. You can actually put computer drives into this, and it will grab the offline memory, it will grab the system information, what USBs have been stuck in that computer, what programs have been running, what recent files they've been looking at, pull all the live, all the deleted, take a full image if you want. It's absolutely awesome. In fact, it does pretty much the same as your Detego field and ballistic, but it does it for removed devices. So we never leave you caught out. If you can't use your ballistics and stuff, you can use your media acquisitions, as we've just done. So I'm just going to pop those out, just so we don't confuse ourselves. Keep it simple, stupid. And now what I've done is we had that easy plug and play. But I'm a different kind of investigator now, so I want to be a bit more specific about what I'm doing. Or it might be that you're going on scene, and actually I want it to do some analytics as the data's coming in. So when I'm imaging, logical, and carving this, I don't just want it to do that and later on look for key information. As the drive's coming in, I want it to be looking for my hostage's name or my suspect's name or chemical compounds that are related to narcotics or IED components. So in this case, I'm going to plug the device in. We get the auto drop down, same as before. If that annoys you, you can just turn it off in this location here. Okay, but I normally leave it on because it's quite handy. If you're just finding sticks, you can just punch them all in and they go into your cases. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click physical image. So what this does is it gives me the next layer. So now maybe I'm in an EAC, I'm in a lab, and I want to do a bit more. Now, what I can actually do is, let's say again, if you've got time, I'll show you on a bigger disk. But let's say this was a 1 terabyte drive out of a laptop, because the laptop's broke and we pop the drive out, I can inspect it. So if I don't want to take a full logical and a full image of that 1 terabyte drive, before I do anything, I can ask for disk inspector. Maybe I'm an advanced investigator and I know I all the time run counter pedophile operations, and I know most of the time users, my directory, my desktop or whatever, my pictures in there's normally something that says home holiday photos, and it just so happens that that is nearly always the indecent images of children. So I can navigate down to whatever that is in that huge amount of data that's in there, and I can go, well, this is where I normally find data, and I can go to it and I can say, I can even preview it. So I can say, give me a little preview of what's in this before I extract anything. And it's giving me this little preview here, which is great. Oh, I've just closed all my pieces down. Second, do that. Just move my screen share out of the way. And then it's giving me a preview of that. Now, what it does is it actually logs all that as well. So if you are in the law enforcement, it logs that you've previewed that piece of data, and then I can just extract all of that data. So now it's going to run off and just extract those particular files for me for that device that it's done there, which is brilliant, and I can review that. So that's another piece. At any time as well, you can just come in. I'm just going to clean up my cases quickly. Just going to delete those. So back into our advanced. I'm coming in now, got a physical disk. I don't want to inspect it. I want to get straight down to business. But instead of the quick drop down, image logical carve, what I want it to do now is I've been given new information on suspect, or I want to load my keyword lists in, my hash list. Not to retrospectively, that's all easy. We do that in our analytical system, but live time while it's extracting. So right now I'm going to go to extract. Now I've got logical image carve. You can move these into any order you want, whatever suits you. You've actually got a load of advanced functions that you can add on as well here, with extra processes to be run straight after, like OCR, drone parsing, steganography, picture and video analytics. But we're doing a whole lecture on that one in a couple of sessions time. I'm not sure exactly when. So in here, let's go back to extract. I'm going into my logical this time, but now I can header check. So is a document really a document? And let's pull that. Maybe I want to reject files from the NIST list, NSRL list, sorry. Maybe I want to look for keywords. So in this case, we're going to be pulling in any loose evidence, and I want to look at bag ration, and let's look at ace of spades. And that's my keyword list. If this was a computer drive that I'd had removed, I could ask for system profile, offline memory, passwords, online activity, and apps, things like that. I'm actually going to put carving ahead of imaging in this case. It's my choice. And in carving, I can run my hash data sets as well. So even in the unallocated space and the deleted pieces, I can run my hash data sets. And then I'm just going to click start. So a few more steps and a little bit more to do, but even to be honest, most of our basic users can utilize that quite well as well. So you've got that really easy drop down piece, and then you've got this next piece here, which you'll now notice already we've started to get amber hits. So that big wheel that was green on the right before means there was no hits. Now it's gone amber, which means it's found 30 keywords from ace of spades. And if it finds any from the other keyword list, then it will list those out as well. It's going to start, like I said, it's going to start bringing in that data for us. If it's too fast, you can press this little pause button. It won't stop the data coming in, but it just slows the stream down that comes past your eyes. You'll see that. Then it's going to go on to file carving. Then it's going to take a full image of that piece of evidence, and then it's going to run verification. So again, you can see it coming in here now pretty quick. I'm just going to press pause for 20 seconds so we can view it. And again, you can navigate around this how you like. Now, we're still working on that piece of evidence because it's now carving all the unallocated space. But I want to look at the data right now. It's important. This is critical information. So I'm going to go to view results. This takes me into Detego's next level. So I know we've had keyword hits, but it now takes me into this Omni viewer. So I can play the videos, open the documents, all the kind of deep dive, well, that's not even deep dive, all the shallow level stuff, if I like. If not, I just know there's keyword hits. And over here, I can go to my keyword hits and say, okay, take me to whatever it is I'm interested in. Maybe Josh Cummings was a hostage, maybe David Haynes is the suspect, or whatever it is we're interested in. So I can select them, click apply, and it just narrows down all the evidence only to anything that matched a keyword hit. So this was probably White House. Oh no, missile, terror, hostage, capture, weapon has all been found within that document. So that's pretty good. So that's an easy way of doing that. Now, if we keep moving this little piece out of the way, you can also have it so that you can go in and it will run across your hash data sets as well. So if I just jump back into my jobs, you see here now we've got red. So before amber, just like your field triage devices, so the flow, the skill fade for operators, whether they're doing computer forensics live, their field triage, is the same in your media acquisition. It's familiar. If I get an amber alert, it's a keyword. If I get a red alert, it's a hash match because there is no ambiguity, right? So in here, I can see we've got border watch list, 27 hits, narcotics 1, soft combined 3, and so on and so forth. And just the same again, I can go in straight to my exhibit content. I can go to all the pieces like just take me the videos, documents, delete pictures, etc., etc. Now I can go in and say, take me to my hashes. So, and take me to all my counter narcotics, my slot, my off-RM, whatever it happens to be. So these were the hash hits. You can actually see that they were from unallocated and deleted as well. So that's pretty important for us because we might want to be quite specific when we're doing extractions like that. So quick remind, basic use, intermediate acquisition, auto detect on, software write blocker on if you want, plug, go, image logical carve. All that data comes flying in to my cases. So it might be I don't view that at this level. I'm just a collector. Get as much data as possible. I actually have cases attached on the back. I have Velcro on the back of my laptop with the drive that holds all my cases. So that folder is attached to my cases drive. I've actually got on the C drive as well. So you could come back and just pass that back to the next level people. They plug it into their Detego. They start all the analytics. So really, really powerful stuff. Let's have another look now. So I'm just going to clean up my cases again quickly. So now we've got in there. We've done a quick look at all of the many multiple devices at once. We've looked at now looking at keywords as they come in. What else have we got in here? Well, you've got mounted drive, that speaks for itself. We've also got image file. So if you have an image file from a third party, or you can do other investigations, but you like all the analytics in Detego, you can just point out to that image file and bring that in. Again, you can inspect it. So that means going in and having a look for the evidence, or you can go straight into extracting and carving the unallocated space. And that's things like live time doing your keywords again as you're coming in. So the same functionality. You've also got that for a user directory. Why? Well, it might be that some bad guys and girls still use CDs. So you can have your CD tray attached, bang in the CD, go out to the directory, still pull that evidence in. So we've given you as many possible options as we can in here. The mobile phone and tablet piece is another section of the technology, and that we just, because it's easy, because we have a unified platform. If you take all the modules, it's easy for people to go, well, I need to attach something to this. So if I've got a phone, I need to attach a phone to my Detego system. So that's, for us, it's a quiet connected medium. And so it's pretty good. The final kind of main piece on this is over here in settings, we've got what's called job queues. So we've looked at these briefly before, and we'll be doing a fair bit on this next time. But what this means now is I can set these up for all different types of priorities. What does that mean? Well, I can set a job queue, for example, if I do a new one, and you can do this for MA, you can do this for removed drives, you can do this for anything within our system. But I'm going to say, whenever I attach something to this, I want it to take a logical image, a physical image. Then I want it to run a logical, and I want it to do the keywords, etc. You've kind of seen this already. If it's remove drive from a computer, take system information, install programs, running processes, all that kind of piece. If there's unallocated space, start carving in that, run my hash data sets. That's all fine and well. We've seen that in media acquisition already. Now, as we mentioned before, I won't go through all these, but you can add other forensic processes. So I can say find encrypted files. If I've got a PASware piece we're integrated with, decrypt those, run your picture analytics, weapons, cars, boats, all that kind of piece, nudity, counter pedophile stuff. In here, I can also run jihadist symbology, so ID jihadist symbols, right-wing symbols, things like that. So there's a whole load that we can do in here. And we just set that as a profile. Then, whatever you're doing, you can set as many of these up as you want. So let's say, for example, I'm on target, I'm on down, but this time, I'm not even going to do image, logical carve, and all those pieces that we did before. All I'm going to simply do is go straight to run after. Now, if I was in the lab and this was a terabyte drive at someone's computer and I'm doing a full investigation, I might go to this deep dive lab job because there's 22 forensic processes that are going to happen. Photo DNA, OCR, language translation. So offline, we give you offline mapping for the world. So if you're not allowed to attach to the internet, you don't have to see all the geo-mapped out data or the drone flights. We give we have bolt-on language translation from 200 languages into English. So that's screenshots that will translate for you, messages, all the other documents, all the rest of it, categorizing by language by default. Anyway, so all these extra things that we're going to look at when we look at Detego Analyze. But right now, maybe I'm just frontline and I want to do seize, scan, and analyze job. You've pre-planned what you may want to go out, the keywords that are relevant to your operation, and just click start. That's all I need to do. Run, start. Next one in. Run, start. Now, though, what we're going to get, even as a basic user, it starts going through and matching on keywords. When it's done that, it's then going to start running picture analytics. So you can see here it's found hashes, it's found keywords. It's actually, it goes a bit quick, so I can go back up to that if I want, same as before. But now you'll notice this one here, picture and video analytics. So it's actually now starting to look at all the evidence that we've pulled in, and it's going to run the AI over these to try and identify weapons, cars, people, boats already. So as we pulled that evidence in, it showed us the keywords and hashes, which is kind of level 1 that we may have been interested in. But now, even without me doing the lab piece or going much deeper, it's auto-analyzing for pictures, videos. Now, if you have a much bigger, more powerful computer, that's going to go significantly quicker for you. If you've got a dedicated GPU, for example, it will run on computers with CPUs, but where encryption, decryption, and any of the AI pieces are concerned, it will slow down a bit if you do not have a dedicated GPU at that point, but it will still run with the CPU. You can just leave it running overnight or whatever. So depending on obviously how long is bit string, how long is your evidence. And once you're in there, you can see with the analytics, this one is sort of set up mainly for, I have no indecent images of children clearly on here, but it's set up to simulate account paedophile and ICAC law enforcement operation. There is some terrorist pictures in there as well. Then I can view results. When I click view results onto just the evidence that it found with the actual faces, people, boats, cars, weapons, etc. So you can see down here, for example, it's got person, faces, person, and so on and so forth. You can see the look face when it finds them as well, and weapons and pieces. If I wanted to be specific about that, this is what it's found. It found 162 with that AI across that small amount. Faces, persons, man, boy, woman, technology, weapons, rifles. And you can actually set the fidelity or the confidence of how high the accuracy of the percentages be, depending on how your organization works. And you can see here it's working in the unallocated space now. So I'm just going to back to my cases. We're not going to get into analyze, because that's another lesson that we're going to be doing, which takes you into the exhibit content and then all of the different filters that we've got by date, time, size, job, camera, make, model, GPS location, all those other pieces. We're not here to get into that right now. This is just an overview of that MA, both basic and advanced. So we're pretty much there, guys and girls. Just a couple of last things. So I've pulled in all those 5 sticks, 6 sticks. I've ripped the hard drives out of a couple of computers because they're damaged and we couldn't use our ballistic imager or whatever it happens to be. You can also run all your analytics. There's an audit log. So it's quite important for the law enforcement teams. It keeps a full forensic management trail of everything you've been doing, including if you've been imaging, how far it imaged, did it verify, did the MD5 match, all that kind of pieces. You can see even here, there's 107 items on that small piece that we've just done. But I can also use Fusion. So this piece here is taking me in and it's saying, okay, I actually don't have many here, I've got one there, but you could have 6, 7, 8 drives that you pulled off location, 10, 15, and a thumbstick, and a phone, and a computer. And these are the various items you can link by here: emails, MAC addresses, install pros, even your keyword lists, which is kind of pretty important, right? And then it will generate graphs for you and show you any linkages between them for whatever evidence that you might have in there. In this case, I've got 5 bits of evidence. We're talking about media acquisition, so let's say it was hard drives from computers or thumbsticks, and then it just shows you the links between the 2 suspects or the individuals, and then over here on the right, why it was linked. So those 5 thumbsticks that we pulled in, for example, there might be areas where there's pictures in there that were taken from the same camera, if you like, on 2 different devices. So I can ask it, take me to the camera make and model. And here, let's say, for example, it was the Nikon D3. I'll upload some results. And you can see here in red is one USB or suspect device, and in blue is the other. You can actually see here that it's detected a rifle in this one. Keyword match was London and British soldier, and so on and so forth. So pretty powerful as well. So kind of in summary then, that is it for media acquisition at the level that we want to get into right now. So as a quick refresh, you've got the very quick auto on. I can be out, I can be extracting a phone, thumbstick, putting a ballistic image in, running a case. As soon as I plug any suspect device in, I'm going to get this automatic drop down. As a basic user, I may already have it preset to image and logical, for example. I just click start. As a slightly more advanced user, or because somebody in the team has already set it up that way, I can go to run, and maybe I do frontline season scan job. Maybe I'm in the lab and I do deep dive of 22 options. That's up to you. Maybe I'm an advanced investigator. I don't want that nice easy drop down. I'm going to come into my advanced and I'm going to go to the physical disk. Now it's a terabyte. So I don't want to go through have the whole logical, because it takes too long maybe in the whole physical first. I'm going to go into my disk inspector and I'm going to use can't teach experience. I'm going to use my experience to navigate through the tree folder, and I'm going to go to the areas I most likely normally find evidence or data. And I can review them first, then take all the data. It doesn't matter. Or of course, I can go back in physical, select the drive, and click extract. Now on this one, it's very similar to the drop-down image logical card, except now, if I click on the boxes, it opens up a whole nother set of options for me. Date, time, stamp, size, file types, header checking. I can add keywords, so live time. Just found the thumbstick, plug it in, run. It's going to identify those keywords straight away. Don't need to grab all the evidence and later on run an extraction process. So that's a quick overview of all the key pieces of media acquisition. So I think that's probably it for us guys. A sort of quick, fast, short session. Hopefully you've seen even something as meager sometimes in some people's view as loose media and those kind of pieces can be pretty powerful, and hopefully you'll see that Detego's helping you with those multiple devices certainly. And any deeper dive if you need to go old school, you can't use your ballistic, pop the drive out of the suspect laptop, connect that up. If you're in the labs and you've got a huge backlog, click 10 of them up, run them overnight. Image, logical card, even run all those other forensic processes, come back in the morning and review them.